Here we are again with a small project, Tele number 3. Back when I did the recording of Take It Easy by the Eagles, with the amp settings that I had to get the sound I wanted, I noticed there was a buzzing, a ground buzzing noise especially when you touch the neck pickup, it made the noise larger. And if I touched the grounding on the bridge pickup that I was using, it diminished. Now I had this issue with Tele number 1. And what I found on that one was the way I had done the grounding between the neck pocket of the bridge and the neck and the bridge and the control panel, the wire had come loose in the neck pocket. And it was causing a problem. Now, I don't think I grounded or shielded the pockets on this because they're both humbuckers. And I thought maybe I should have eventually, because I put the push-pull pots on this thing to be able to split the buckers, and then when you do that, then half the coil is susceptible to noise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up these strings and take them off. They're a little, it's time. I slipped the bone nut on this about a month or so back underneath these strings because I knew they were going to need to be changed eventually pretty soon. And I like to keep the old strings on when I'm doing any nut work in case I break them or muck them up in any way. And that way I know it's good when I put the new strings back on and I don't have to worry about mucking them up or breaking them. Anyway, so what I normally do here is, it's controversial, so I loosen them all, and because I want to clean, and actually it's not that bad, I blew some dust out of the ashtray here. I'm just going to clip these things down here close, which helps me be able to get them out through the back. And then I'll just snip these things down and put them in my can. And I'm gonna open this up, take a look in there and see what's going on. And I may have not grounded the chassis of the pickup to the common ground, because with the four-way switch on this end, and I didn't have this problem with the Neovin noiseless pickups, and I didn't split them because you can't. In order to get the second position where the neck and bridge are in series and not parallel, which is what normally is wired, you have to lift the ground on this one, which doesn't actually go to chassis ground, and it goes to a separate connector or pin on the switch, and that leaves you with no natural ground. Now there was a comment somewhere that I found that you have to add an additional ground to the ground here to bring it to ground, and you had to, on the covered pickups, standard Tele pickups, you disconnect the cover from the ground that you lift to go to the switch, and then you add a separate ground from the cover to the actual full ground so that you don't get that noise problem. But these are humbuckers, and I'm going to open it up, and I won't bore you with the details of showing you all of that. I mean, people know how to unscrew a couple of screws, but once I get in there, I've got these wires off and clear. I'll show you what I found. I just wanted to mention, now that I have the strings off, that every time you go through this, check the nuts for tightness up here, because for some reason they always seem to loosen up over time. Just snug, don't over tighten. You don't want to be pulling back into those things out. Well, you know, it's metal, and metal, these should be similar metals. But when you tighten two pieces of metal together, there's a certain amount of tension on those treads, and over time they will let go and they will, you know, pull apart from each other a tiny little bit. So screws you'll find on all kinds of things where you put them in, bolts, whatever, over time they will feel loose, so you just have to like snug them a little bit. And that's what I do with these every time. So now that I have the strings off and I'm taking a look, I'm going to have to clean the fretboard. And I've got some little bit of tarnish on the frets where the wires, strings are. See a little bit of wear spots in different places. So I'm going to give that a little touch up with my 2000 sandpaper. And once I do that, I'm a stickler for polishing them with the Autosol, which I will also do, which I've shown before. I'm going to do it off camera, and then I think I'll only be back next when I actually have the neck pickup popped out, and take a look under there and check some measurements with my meter. Well, I have opened this all up and looked for grounds that could be to case of the pickup, but there ain't none. The only ground that there is this braid, this little copper braid right here on the jacket that I did take over, and it is grounded here to the bottom of the pot, switch and pot. And I tried some different amp settings, and the only one out of my modeling amp, Mustang 3 Fender, that it does it on is the 65 Princeton, 65 Deluxe Reverb, and the 65 Deluxe do not do it. One other one does it, something called Sonic, which is made from metal, which is pretty much all noise anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm thinking everything else that I've done with this guitar since Take It Easy, and everything else that I play, and I use the 65 Deluxe or Reverb, Deluxe Reverb most of the time for most of the things I do. So I'm going to consider it a non-issue and put this all back together. Have gleamed up, see the reflection of my overhead lamp, all the frets, and the other thing I'm going to do while I've got this, after, well, I'll polish the whole body, but right here, right below where the strings are, I tend to rest my bottom of my fingers here when I play on my right hand as an anchor, and it turns out that the nails on my fingers have begun to scratch this, which I guess what a normal pick guard is designed to do, but I don't like the look of a full pick guard on the front, so I have something that I use for motorcycles called Paint Saver, and I actually put some on Tele number 2 before I recorded Early Morning Rain. It's virtually invisible, it's clear. I just cut a strip and put it across here where my fingers will rest, and now I touch the plastic on Tele number 2, so that will work on this one as well. So this is the stuff I was talking about. It's called paint saver. It's made by a company called Oxford, made for motorcycles, and it comes with paper templates to be able to cut out things for tank protection, your knees on the side of the tank, instead of using these black things, which a lot of people use to buy and peel and stick them on, carbon fiber look. You can make it out of this clear paint saver if you don't want the color of your bike to be disturbed by black. So I've cut this it's about 1 mil thick, right? So I'm just going to find a place to put it. I cut it a little bit longer by a tad to make it fit just around the curvature of the neck plate. And I've already cleaned it out with naphtha. So once I peel it, stick it, and hopefully it'll stay in place. And I can see where the abrasion is where my fingers go. It's right about there. And so because I can see through it, I can get it in the right spot that I want. And then once I do that, I'm going to throw some strings up on this again and get her tuned up and put her back in operation. Alright, there's my little finger guard. If it stays, it stays. If it don't, it don't. I mean, it's only an adhesive on the back, and it's an easy cleanup if there's any left over with a little bit of naphtha. So no biggie, but if it stays, helps for finger protection. Well, we've got it all together and set up. Just do a little bit of this. You're a little bum, aren't you? Eh? You're just a little bum. I know you want something. I think I might just do something with that in a while. Looks like I'll be off camera for a bit until after my surgery.